9:01.
Okay, that sounds great. Welcome, Freedom Living team. We have been asked by our fearless leaders, James and Audrey, to share a little bit with you guys about the Momentum Nashville that was this past weekend. And for those of you that were on the call last week, James and Aud came back on fire about top achievers and shared with us a bunch about that. And then we had this Momentum Nashville. So what we want to do tonight is just share an overview and of what the weekend was like, and then some takeaways and some action steps, because as James mentioned on our FLT business, this is the last quarter we're entering and we want to have it be the best yet, right? So just an overview, this was at the Nashville Convention Center, and there were about 300 attendees there for the weekend. From Freedom Living, y'all, there were somewhere between 22 and 24 of us. Some, like Becca, were there on Friday but not able to come on Saturday, and then some, like Martha, weren't able to come Friday, came Saturday. But there were like 20 to 22 of us from Freedom Living team. It was so awesome, guys. And yes, I'm a proud mama, but I also want you to know that our leadership with James and Audrey is the reason why Freedom Living team was so cohesive this past weekend. And we had so much fun together. So thank you, James and Aud, for your leadership. And really, the gist of painting a picture of it, most of the people there, probably 2/3 of the attendees, were our Zija adopted friends, okay? And we acquired Zija a couple of years ago, and Chris Estes was the top income earner. He hosted this event. He did a phenomenal job of having a lot of variety where there were true born and bred isogenics, speakers, trainers, testimonials, as well as his team, okay? And we have truly merged now. And one of the things that was conveyed this weekend very clearly to the executives is that come January, it's no longer going to be Zija and isogenics. And the Zija people are so incredibly grateful, y'all. Their energy that they brought, their welcoming of any of and all of us, they were so welcoming, so grateful, so positive, so inclusive, and they are ready to be isogenics and not have Zija, that name, that association, any of that. And so all of that was so fun. The belief that was conveyed through this weekend was off the charts, because some will share a little bit about Dr. Plant. He was there, and he spent an hour teaching 300 of us about his favorite things about isogenics and our products, and the adaptogen is one of the things he talked about. But what I want to convey to us as a team is his conviction that isogenics will continue to innovate products that are needed out there. We're not going to spend time putting products out there that aren't going to move and that aren't trending and that aren't needed. But we also aren't ever going to compromise on the quality of our products. And the other thing he reiterated, which I think was wonderful for all of us to be reminded of, is, especially as we have new products coming out soon, is that our standards in the industry are unprecedented by any other health and wellness company. And that conviction was coming from Dr. Plant himself. So yeah, they had testimonials and stories, and we want to talk about some of the takeaways and some of the action steps for October and November. So Ellen, take it from there.
Hey, well, thank you. And we felt like it was such a blessing to represent Freedom Living team, knowing full well that James and Audrey really laid the groundwork. And it was such a blessing to be in the midst of so many Zija people and realize that we were organic isogenics people and that these people had merged with us. And there was so much to be had there. I have to say for myself, one of the biggest takeaways was the stories. And we hear that all the time, and it sounds kind of trite for me to even say that, because we have social media stories and we have transformation stories, and we all have that. But the whole weekend was the meat of people's stories, the MEAT. But when you MEET and share your stories with people, you're sharing an experience that no one can take away from you. You're sharing an experience that can give somebody hope and life and light. And you are going, every step that you take in this, you're building this story. And so at the very beginning of the whole weekend, Chris Estes shared the acronym for ACT. And I want to say that tonight, just real quick at the beginning, and then we'll get into other people sharing. But ACT, he talked about ACT. A stood for apply. And one of the things that he said to do as we went through the weekend was, every time you hear something that you want to apply in your business or in your life, to put an A next to it with a circle or a hashtag A, so that you would be able to look back at a glance and see, oh, that's something I want to apply this in my life. C was for change. And we all need that. If we're going to grow, we have to change. And so the C of ACT is change. And then T for teach. And the best way to solidify something you learn is to do it and teach it to someone else. And isn't that what our business is all about? We do it, we learn it, we do it, we teach it. This is the whole duplication model. And so I just want to say tonight, even while you're listening, to think about things. Ooh, that's a good nugget. I want to apply that. Put an A by it. Oh, I need to teach that to my team member. Put a T by it. But that was a really great scope to look at the whole sequence of the weekend. And I'm telling you, the stories were rich and unending, as they are with our team as well. And I just really encourage you to hear and glean what you can if you weren't there this weekend. So, all right, Joanie, who else do we have?
Yeah, so Derek, go ahead, Derek or Gina.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was, we always kind of think about this, and maybe some of us toss it around, but there was, I forget her name, but she was talking about how her team is doing 11-day reset. Well, she was saying 9-day resets. So what, if you want to say 9 or 11-day, but they were doing resets almost like weekly or bi-weekly, and really moving the needle that way. And, I remember it's been a while since I've, kind of promoted or, posted about some of those things on my stories about resets. But when I did, it got some traction. And so, you just thinking about, like, man, why haven't I? That's a great idea, because she was talking about how she's bringing so many people and her team's doing the same thing, easier way to create consultants, for her people and everything. So, when we all heard that, we were tossing around the idea of starting one in October. And I know Joanie and Ellen will get into that later, and Gina, but it was just kind of like, oh yeah, we can do that, especially with the promos, because Mac was talking about, different promos and everything. So my biggest takeaways were from that, along with, like, combining with the promos, creating more consultants, bringing more people in, and that one-on-one time with Dr. Plant and Mac was, I don't really know what I was expecting, but that was kind of like, maybe it's because I was sitting in the front that my eyes are like literally on him. But yeah, that was good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Derek. Kathy, you may want to jump in and share some of your takeaways.
Yes, I love science, and Dr. Plant, oh my goodness. I have so many takeaways, but there's two I wanted to share with you because I think it will help. It helped with my belief and also to be able to articulate it to others on our team. So I wanted to share with you. Someone in the executive meeting asked Dr. Plant, he said that we are starting to see in the marketplace little bottles of collagen that look very similar to ours. How do we compete with that? I mean, how do we counter when someone says, why is yours special? And he said that there are three things that we can point to that is distinctive in ours. I mean, and he said one that make ours that are exclusive to our collagen. He said where they're sourced off the Norwegian coast, and then it's most like human collagen. And in the large group, he went through more of exactly why that is important. And we can talk about that later if you want. But the double, help me with this, Nutri technology, is that right? And he said that in our body, I love the way you make science accessible to anyone. He said we have water loving parts and we have water hating parts, and our blood is water loving. And to get things in your cell, it has to pass through water hating parts. And our double Nutri technology increases the absorption within the cell because the collagen is produced in the cell and it has to get the components in the cell. So that technology is really important if you're talking to someone that resonates with. The third is there are no preservatives. And he said that we are partnering with the only place he knows of that has the technology to package in the short amount of time that our collagen is packaged such that it doesn't need preservatives. And he said, we all want to look beautiful, but not at the expense of our health. So we are not wanting to put toxins in. And again, you all know we want to present this from a positive, not criticizing other companies, but these are things that we can say confidently about our collagen that will make it, that is different from what is currently out there. And he said, whenever you have with network marketing, you are creating a demand. And we knew that this was it was a huge market disruptor and there will be copycats, but we have this to stand behind. And then the other thing, just real quickly, someone asked how we can market within, how do we create an interest in adaptogens and adaptogen elixirs, because with the collagen you can do pictures, but how do you do that? And he said that he is recommending or seeing people that are successful, I can't remember how he worded that, but focus on the sleep aspect was his recommendation, because he said the sleep will affect all the other areas that are seeing the improvement, but that is something most people will be able to relate to. And the number I noticed in that I didn't hear him use any other percent of any other of the study on any other area. He just said several times, 33% improvement in sleep. And then he went into a little bit about that, because he said, if you have had deeper REM sleep and better non-REM sleep and whatever the different, you better sleep, then your concentration, your motivation, all of those things are going to follow. So those
and
are
weight loss.
Yeah, weight loss
Yeah.
because of the lack of stress and creativity during the day and all of that. Another thing that maybe Derek can mention, because I thought you did a masterful job asking about this, but you know, some of our videos are outdated and people are wanting updated stories and videos and that sort of thing. Derek, can you share a little bit about that? Because I thought it was fantastic, the diversity they're going to be really focusing on.
Yeah, the main question I asked relating to like marketing material, because Mac was, he was just talking about everything really. And I asked him, is there any plans to add even more diversity, and he said, yes, that is very, very high priority on the list that they're actually working on right now, but organically. So not just because it may be right or it's the right thing to do, but really organic with real stories. And so, that was a great thing to hear, because I know I get that asked a lot about that. So that was good.
And
Yeah,
he did
and
say it was long overdue,
Yeah.
and he was very excited about it.
And you know what's interesting, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just that event itself, that was probably short of 14,000 people and all the diversity. For an associate run event, there was more diversity in that group than I think I've ever seen, you know, because the Zija, that collective right there, they're very diverse. And I loved that. Did you guys notice that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and on that line too, just in terms of the adaptogen and marketing some of that, one of the things that someone shared that was a huge takeaway for me was to evaluate all of the products that we have that you have personally used. And they said it's going to take a little time, but make an intentional effort to evaluate every product that you have personally used and what have you experienced with it, and make a list so that you can put it in your social media stories, that you can talk about it to other people, that you can share, oh, we have this, or we have that, or I've experienced this. You can also share those stories with other people when you're conversing people who are on these products, and be able to even put a database together of these experiences, which we all do. We know we share what has happened to other people with our prospects and with people that we're sharing with. But that was another point too. When that adaptogen elixir came up, that question about how to market it, when it's not, you're not talking about something visual, it's much more abstract, and it really differs from person to person. But we have a whole store full of things that we can share with. So that was a really great takeaway of just making a list for yourself of what you've experienced with every product.
That is a great reminder, Ellen, because I know for me, I can take for granted the years that I've been using the products. I can take for granted what it's done for me. And I know Kristen is on the call tonight, and she is just a few weeks in. And that's one thing I've noticed from her already, is she will share specific products and what she values about them. And I'm like, that is exactly what they're wanting us to not lose sight of, so that we can really share effectively about the nutrition. Okay, I want to bounce over to Gina, because as they were sharing, they meaning the different ones that were sharing stories and campaigns and rank advancements and just explosions in their business, a lot of it was connected to these campaigns that they do, or the shreds, or whatever you want to call it. And so several of us were looking at our calendars and writing down dates, and it's like, okay, we got to do something. Let's figure out something. And so then between a handful, half a dozen of us there, or whatever, we came up with some things that we want to do, and Gina's going to share some of that.
Hi guys. So before I get into what we're going to do, I just wanted to share another takeaway from Dr. Plant, because he's amazing. But if you have people who are plant-based, or you yourself are plant-based, know after talking to Dr. Plant and Mac this weekend, there are a lot of plant-based products coming out next year, which have me super excited, being vegan on the West Coast. So just know that, and put that little nugget in your head, that being so close and being able to ask the questions to these two really did, like Kathy said, give me more belief, because it was so uncensored. I feel like sometimes when you're on these corporate calls, it feels like they're just talking at you. So being able to ask specific questions just really did raise our belief, and just knowing that they're innovating products for us. And I think you guys will be really excited with what's happening with the plant-based coming up. Mm-hmm. So we, like everyone was talking about, we listened to all these stories, and we want to talk about how we can be a product of the product, right? Because like Joanie said, we can tend to lose sight of the things we used to use, or we don't use as much. I know I personally, I'll be completely transparent, have not done a double cleanse day in a very long time. So we were talking about what we can do to kind of move this momentum in the fourth quarter. And we decided to do an 11-day shred, but we're marketing it, or presenting it rather, as a fall kickoff, because I feel like when you present it as 11 days, it gives people a definite time frame, which is great, but also we know that that doesn't set them up for the most success. So we have put together the fall kickoff, which will start next Monday, October 4th. And why is that? That is so great because, like I posted this morning, the free fall fave promo, I think is what it's called, is extended through this week, which if you don't know, with $150 spent, they can try a box of collagen or a canister of shakes. And then $250 is free shipping and the collagen or shakes. So we also wanted to take advantage of that promo to help move everyone forward. So there is already a group that we had from this previous summer that we're adding people to. So if you're not in it, let your upline know, reach out to one of us. I created today, with the help of the other executives, a deck of Instagram stories with some results from our team. So you guys have all of that, and I can share as well. So we'll run it as 11 days, but we really want to focus on, I think Derek mentioned that they do it like bi-weekly. So yes, it's 11 days, but we want to do the 30-day system. So essentially they would get 2 11-day shreds in their 30-day system. We can talk a little bit more about dates if you want to go ahead and do that, Joanie.
Yeah, and so we are going to do one for October, and then we figured we would, and like I mentioned in the chat, it's a fall kickoff that lasts 11 days for the 30-day system, so that, like Gina said, people won't think it's just a one and done 11 days. We all know this is lifestyle nutrition. So we want people to understand the intent, but to feel the camaraderie, the accountability, the momentum, the excitement, the energy of getting started, whether they've been using the products for 3 or 4 years, or whether they're brand new, like some of Martha's people who are going to be jumping on next week. And then we want to do another one, probably November 8th to the 18th, because that'll have us be finished with that and going right into Thanksgiving. And guys, in years past, the holidays are a great time to do things like this, because people get excited about feeling great through the holidays and having their health back. And, it really is great timing. So let's see, Ellen, are there a couple other things about this that and in the slide deck that Gina is going to probably put on Freedom Living Team or wherever she's going to drop it, she's done a masterful job. There are all kinds of before and afters of people, me, Ellen, Derek, Gina, others who maybe aren't even with Freedom Living Team, but they're IsaBody Challenge people and whatnot. And we have enough variety so that you can choose pictures that are going to resonate with the people you're reaching out to. So the intent isn't for you to use every slide that's available. And she also left room for you to add your little note. You might want to include the dates when you send it to someone, and you can add that on the slide, or whatever other verbiage you want to use that is, personal to you. Let's see, what am I forgetting? So she did a masterful job with that. I will say the other thing that we can also be looking forward to is, they didn't tell us what, but there is going to be a November shake release, and we don't know exactly when. History tells us it'll probably be on a Tuesday, right? So we know something is coming in November, and that may also be great timing for when we do a November campaign. So, and what we offer anyone and everyone of Freedom Living who wants to be a part of this with us, you're welcome. Nobody has to, but we all just, those of us who are there, are very excited about it. Ellen, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say again what Gina mentioned too, is that when they do these special flavor releases, Mac Larson had mentioned, because the question came up about plant-based, that they are going to be done in tandem. That was our understanding, that he said those would be done. And so we're very excited about that for all of our plant-based, all of us who enjoy that. I also wanted to mention something that almost I don't know that, and correct me, those of you who were there, but everybody who spoke was new to network marketing. And it was heard over and over and over again about building your belief, because really it's you. You are building you. And when you believe in you, other people believe in you and they want to follow you. They want to be a part of what you're doing. And I kept hearing it again and again. And it was really interesting to me because when we sat in front of Mac Larson, he had a whiteboard and he answered questions, admittedly a little different than Dr. Plant, but he made a list of all the questions instead of taking them one at a time and answering them. And when he got all done with the questions, he said, you know, I find it kind of interesting. I'm sitting here in a room full of executives where people have been years in the industry and all this. And he said, and look, and he counted all the questions. And probably 3/4, if not 2/3 of the questions were product related. And a very few were about business and marketing or compensation or, you know, those types of questions. So I want to say that because this is just real people who are learning to believe in themselves, learning to believe in this industry, learning to believe in this compensation plan, in this marketing plan, in this amazing company that we have. And now we all get to partner in this together. So I do encourage you, all of the things that you heard here tonight, that you can take these nuggets, you can apply them, you can change what's in your life, you can teach them to people around you, you can act, that ACT, and then you can hop on our fall kickoff. You can be a part of this. You can encourage others to hop on this week and get some free product. What an amazing thing to try our collagen and know that they get a canister of super smoothies to go with it, and they can try these amazing nutritive meals, or they get the meals and they can try this amazing skin and hair and nails and joint changing collagen. So it was an amazing time. I think everybody had super takeaways, and I don't want to leave anybody out. So is there anybody else who wanted to share some takeaways of what you gleaned there this weekend?
Yeah. Becca, Leslie, Emily, Debbie, Martha.
Oh,
Becca, I'm sure you have something.
hey, I always have something, right? You guys have really summed it up. I was there Friday. I hated to miss Saturday. But I think the biggest thing too, it was a group. It was a very diverse group. I've only been to one other like corporate event that we just had, but just in the network marketing, seeing the trainings, being on the calls. And this was a group of, everybody was so energetic and enthusiastic and really just had this powerful belief in these products. And I'll tell you, we're so used to talking about collagen. These people were so on fire for our nutrition and what it has done for their lives and their team members. And I'm telling you, the speakers were incredible. The stories were really just like none other that I've heard. And everybody came from a completely different background, experience with the products. It was night and day. It really gave me the belief just in this industry. I think I struggle with that more than anything. You hear all these stories and I'm like, okay, I can do this, you know? But just every walk of life, every different background, every different personality, from super quiet and introverted to crazy loud, like every different personality type. And these people were up there crushing it, rank advancing themselves, their team. It really was, it was very inspirational just to go, there's not this cookie cutter mold of this type of person is going to be successful. It was all over the map. And just from, again, our core products, our core nutrition and cleansing. And it's so easy to go with the collagen. It's easy. There's no coaching. We're the newest and the greatest. But really that was kind of, and not that we should put it on the back burner, but I'm just saying it was refreshing too, to get back to like the foundation of this company and the nutrition and making people like get back to their healthy selves. And so anyway, so it was amazing. It was, I hated to have to leave early, but I really did. And then one other thing, because not on the negative, but I think in network marketing, it's hard to see people leave. It's hard to let people go. And I loved this quote. It said, "Those who got you here will not get you there." And for me, that just really hit home. It was like, you always have to be bringing in new blood, and the people that it's not their time, that don't want to stay, like, let them go, and just kind of turn over a new phase and a new season in your business. So I know we're over, but those were my favorite parts of the weekend.
That's great, Becca. So well said. And I think Leslie had something she wanted to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just wanted to share that, I don't even remember who said it, but it said anything works, but nothing doesn't. So, I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing things the right way, but as long as you're doing something, anything works. But if you're not doing nothing, then nothing doesn't. And also, they're waiting to see if we're committed before they commit to us. So if we're not committed, then they're not going to commit to us. And so you've got to show them that, yes, you are committed to this and you're going to do it and you're going to follow through. So you just need to show, because they're watching. And so I thought that was awesome. And then one more thing, people come for one reason, whether it's collagen or whether it's nutrition or whether it's whatever, but they stay for multiple reasons. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's so
That
great.
is so powerful. And I'm just going to say one last thing to those things, Leslie, is that I think it was one of the couples who shared, but they said the 3 rules of prospecting and sponsoring people is: number 1, people will say no; number 2, people will ridicule you; and number 3, people will quit. So if you are going to be committed to do it, you just have to push through those things. So, and but you're going to find those yeses. So I'm going to leave you with this. Chris Estes said that you can emphasize the no. When you hear the no, you can experience like no, or you can turn and you can choose to hear no, yes. And that's what we're after. So
Yeah.
let's run towards this fall kickoff. Let's make the most of this fall fave promo, and let's go out there and crush it.
Yes. So look on the FLT page for the slide deck. Check with your upline about being in the group if you want to be a part of it, or you can mention in FLT that you want to be in the group, and we'll be sure to add you. So thanks, guys. Thanks, James and Odd. We love you guys. Freedom Living. Let's crush it.